value the idea of freedom of choice. And we think it's actually better to actually put the freedom of choice in the hands of the people. Because we do think that it is more efficient. Because if we suddenly make it compulsory, it doesn't mean that these people are going to understand that it's actually saving a life. We think that they're going to be more empowered and actually more involved in the decision if they made the decision by themselves. And we think that that is the way to go. So before I move on to my substantive point, I have two rebuttals in today's debate. On the first rebuttal, we don't think that their model is actually clear. We question them. Is there actually going to be compensation to those people who actually donate their organs, or is it going to be free? But moving on to the second rebuttal in today's debate, because they talked about this idea of life and death and why they need to make it compulsory. We don't think so. We think that what they're doing is that they're making a hasty effort in order to tackle the problem, which we think that what they're doing is that they are undermining moral ethics. And we do think that we support those moral ethics for a reason, because we see that religious groups, for example, or many people do see the value of their body. They do think that their body is sacred and they want all their organs when after death. And when we do see this fact, and we do think that these values are actually there in order to make our religious values, which we should respect in the first place. Because if we don't respect their values, of course, we don't see how the people are going to willingly accept the government's decision. We think that when this happens, the people can easily not cooperate with the government at the end of the day. We can also see that these people can easily retaliate and not actually help the government with this problem. But also, we do think that there is a better solution when we talk about life and death. We do think that there is things such as the opt-out system, which we think that status quo has already shown to be effective. What we need to do is that we need to preserve this freedom of choice. Because we think that with freedom of choice and with donations at the end of the day, that's exactly how we can increase donations and make sure that people know the value of altruism and actually giving in order to help other people. Moving on to our counter proposal in today's debate. What we're doing is that we're going to substantiate the status quo. We're going to go with the opt-out system, which is a system that presumes that everyone is going to go with organ donations unless someone opts out or denies giving the government their organs in the first place. But on the second level of analysis, we do think that we're going to make campaigns, for example, or actually people telling information about organ donations and why it is a problem to actually solve in the first place, which will ensure that these people will actually willingly give their organs in the first place. Thirdly, what we're going to do is that we're going to have the World Health Organization ensure that there's not going to be any exploitation of the poor and actually make sure that the black market system is going to be reduced. Because we do see that there is still exploitation of the poor where people still exploit the poor's organs at the end of the day. So moving on to my substantive point, how the demand of organs can easily be solved with awareness. On the first level of analysis, we talk about countries like Britain, for example. We think that we've seen a survey where as much as 80% of the people do want to donate their organs. But the result is only 10% people donate their organs at the end of the day. This is because people do not know about the system. And this is why there's a problem of a lack of organs in the first place. And this is why we think that with campaigns, what we can do is we can actually make people more informed about the problem. We can make people become more knowledgeable and actually become willing to donate. And we think that this is when we actually solve the demand if we do actually inform these people in the first place. But moving on to the second level of analysis on why actually incorporating consent is better. We think that first of all, we do value self-determination. Number one, because we do think that it is a pillar of democracy. We talk about democracy where people freely choose their politician, for example, where we don't necessarily force people to vote. We think that this is what we need to ensure. Because since it is a pillar of democracy, we think that when we enforce such ideas that undermine that pillar, we think that this is when loopholes can happen. This is when governments can easily force those people to do things and actually legislate laws which go against those people's views. But moving on to the second point, because when we think that we incorporate self-determination when actually donating organs, this is going to be more effective because people are going to be more informed. People are going to feel that they're exercising their choice to actually donate those organs in the first place. And when they exercise their choice, they will feel that they're actually have done a good thing. They're not going to feel forced, for example. They're not going to feel that the government has forced them into such an activity. What they're going to feel is that they want to help those people, and that's why they exercise that choice in the first place. So when we have that value of altruism, when this happens, it means that people are going to be more willing to donate at the end of the day, because people see that they're actually doing a good thing and they're doing it by their own choice. And when they know this value of donation, actually supporting and helping the greater benefit of society with their own freedom of choice, this is going to be a stepping stone to other donations, for example. But before I move on,
What's wrong with the idea of people feeling forced to donate? At the end of the day, we can save more and more people now.
Because when we force someone, of course it's against their view. We don't see why we need to go and actually undermine their rights in the first place if there is a better solution. Because this better solution also ensures more benefits. Because what we're doing is that we're ensuring that people are going to know that they're doing it by their own choice. We think that this is about that moral conscience in order to ensure that those people are going to donate. Even if it is a life and death solution, we do have a solution. We think that that solution is the opt-out system. Because the entire problem with today's status quo is that people are not actually aware of that problem in the first place. Because we think that with freedom of choice, when we do have that stepping stone of actually people knowing that donating for the greater benefit of their society by exercising their choice, this is when people are going to be more willing to actually help the greater society. This is when they're going to start helping those poor people. We think that we need to ensure that that stepping stone is there and that moral conscience is there. And we think that we can only do it with that freedom of choice, because that freedom of choice is what the people can have to ensure that they can exercise it. We think that this is when we know that people are informed and that they know they can help the greater benefit of society. We don't think forcing someone to actually help other people is going to make them know that helping other people is a good thing. We think that suddenly they're going to stop after that donation. They're not going to think that they need to donate or actually help the greater society, because they see that they're only being forced to do one thing and they don't see the value of donation at all. So for all these reasons, I'm proud to oppose.